Welcome to Unlocking Las Vegas with your favorite redhead realtor, Erin Mills. We're going to be covering the greater areas of Las Vegas all the way to Pahrump and Mesquite, talking about trends, events, sports, and more. I'm super excited to welcome all of our guests this year and have a great time, which is everything Unlocking Las Vegas. Welcome to another podcast of Unlocking Las Vegas with your host, Erin Mills. We also have the fabulous Leslie McGarry and my special guest host, Holly Erker.
Hi.
Welcome, Holly.
Thank you.
Okay, Holly is my total girl crush in real estate, okay? Sometimes you meet another agent on another deal and you're just like, I need you in my life. I need you in my life. And our deal was so wonderful and fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
We will get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love that, you're meeting for the first time my BFF, Leslie, more than just my lender crush, way more than that. I love to put people together, and the biggest thing about me, and I know you girls too, is hashtag community over competition. I feel how many agents do we have is between 17,000 and 18,000 in is it Southern Nevada or Nevada? Doesn't matter. There's more than enough for everybody.
Yeah.
My heck. I have lost friends over this, and I was
that's crazy.
There's so many bazillions of houses.
Yeah.
Okay, technically about 250 growing 1,000 houses here.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, okay, so Miss Holly, let's talk about you for a minute.
Sure.
Do we want to talk about the market for a minute? What are we seeing right now with interest rates and anything trending?
We probably don't want to actually talk about the market this week.
Oh, okay.
We're trending.
Well, the best news is that we have locked most of our buyers.
Yes.
And so that's
Yes.
the good thing. And that's a
Yes.
magic word that we can dive into later, is when you're looking for a home. And I mean, the interest rates are like the stock market, up and down, sideways and up and down. So when you know that you're looking and you're trying to find the perfect home and she's got her finger on the pulse, we're going to lock our clients into a rate, which is amazing.
But what's steadily trending is equity. That is
1,000%. And I know that we get a bad rap, it's a good time to buy, it's a good time to sell. It's a good time for somebody to buy and sell.
What do we always say, Erin?
I don't know now.
The right time to buy and sell is when the right time to buy and sell is your right time.
For you.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
we're not
driven
the
by markets.
blanket people, and I tell people all the time, it's not a good time for you, but we can work on your credit, or we can work on this, or we can wait until your lease is up. We have patience. I don't think that any of us have what's called in our industry commission breath.
No.
I don't feel like we
No
have
one at this table.
No one at this table
has commission breath.
I am here to help people. I hate that too.
I like that you just put on a new voice. I put in a new voice for Valentine's Day. I wanted to be
your sexy Valentine's Day. And by the way, if you're visually watching this, I want to talk about our outfits, because we do kind of we're girls, man. We like to, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And Holly lives and really concentrates on vintage Vegas Paradise Palms. And she's always so bright and fun. And I was like, well, let's just I just said bright and fun.
Yeah.
Leslie texted me this morning and I was like, I threw on a hot pink shirt. I'm so sick of talking about Valentine's, but it is next week. And so we all show up with hot pink tops and black pants.
The exact same outfit.
In tune. In tune. So how I met Holly, so I had a wonderful client. He was very vintage Vegas. He has a very specific look. What would you call his look? As we kind of dive down into this.
He was definitely mid-century.
Yes.
Mid-century modern specifically.
He's an art collector. He collects vintage furniture.
Yep.
And so, we really kind of target marketed, the different areas that look like what he wanted. And so enter Holly. And the best part is we got to meet the sellers.
Yeah.
A lot of agents like to keep buyers and sellers absolutely apart. So when I'm showing a home and they're like, oh, the owners are going to be there and they're going to open the door. And I'm like, fantastic.
I agree.
I love to make that connection. I want them to be comfortable with me. And then, we can ask each other things let's talk about your neighborhood. So the topic of today is niches make riches. Okay, let's explain what that is. So if you have a niche, if you have a neighborhood, if you're a workout queen, if you know what I'm saying. So Leslie is a little different than a typical agent because your niches are matriculating with agents. knowing a
Yeah.
little bit about everything, and we
We
can,
love strong, powerful female agents.
which is great, but we don't discriminate. We like men
Correct.
too. We like
Yes.
men too.
Strong, powerful men too.
Yes, this isn't like, yeah, we're not never bashing on men, man. I got some great agents out there. But so your niches now, you're highly, highly invested into this city. I
Yes.
mean, you are on, I don't know, how many boards?
3.
Yeah. Do you want to, which ones are those?
So the main ones that everybody would know about is Women's Council of Realtors. I am an ambassador this year. I'm not on the executive board, but I'm part of the board. And then I'm also the community outreach director for Alliance Las Vegas.
So what I'm hearing is lots of education.
Yes.
Lots of community service.
Yes.
You're a teacher.
I am.
I mean,
I'm
so-
an adjunct professor.
So, I mean, her niches like way supersede mine. I'm feeling like the low man on the totem pole
gosh.
today. Because when I heard about this niches make riches, I'm like, I have no niche. I really don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't know. I'd love for you to tell me because, people are like grind down on your neighborhood, farm your neighborhood, be the expert about your neighborhood. And I guess you would call me the half-acre non-HOA horse property kind of queen. Because that's where I was
see that.
born, raised, grown up. I could tell you about septic tanks and wells and, the properties and stuff like that.
That's more than I can tell you about on septic
So-
tanks and wells and horse stuff.
But I don't focus on that. I'm like,
Right.
you want a condo in the east side? Let's go. You want a new build in Sky Canyon? Let's go. So my niches is like serious education all the time. But okay, so let's talk about you. So I have this wonderful man, this wonderful family. We go to see your house, and I love this house because they are divorced but co-parenting lovely. And so there was the main house, and then there was like basically, what would you call it? Like
It was actually converted
Next gen?
carport at some point, but it was set up. My sellers was set up for his mom, like an apartment. Next gen would be like the modern take on what that
a full apartment
was.
with an exit door.
Correct.
I call them exit doors.
Kitchenette, yeah, full separate entrance.
How about a door?
Exit door.
Mother-in-law suite, kind
Yeah.
of anything above that. So for what they were looking for, it couldn't have been any better.
It really couldn't have. Okay, so tell them where you live and what you focus on. And as I'm learning about her, I was like, she's so much cooler than me, Jesus. Because she started telling my clients about this neighborhood, and I was like, I got some stuff to learn.
And maybe I'll explore into that. So I live in Paradise Palms. It's one of the many mid-century modern neighborhoods. Not many, a few in the city. You would think that there would be
few.
more, but the population was pretty small in the 60s. There was not a lot of development at that time.
To let people know how magical, what very famous movie was filmed there.
The movie Casino.
There's movies, but
Movies.
Yes.
But the main one was Casino. It was a Martin Scorsese film filmed in '85. So a lot of the filming took place throughout Paradise Palms.
And you can drive past that house.
You can drive past that house. The tour buses stop there every day. at
That's
10 a.m.
amazing.
And they have
I
like
should
a
go
little
sell lemonade.
casino shrine outside of the entry to the house. Where were we going? What was the question?
Your amazingness with your neighborhood. How like, if one of your neighbors is looking to buy or sell, are they going to call me? I would hope not. Because
Well,
you're the name in the face.
there's about 7 of us in the neighborhood that are realtors.
Oh, see, I only know Holly.
Well, that's kind of all you gotta know.
I know.
Right there. So I think really what it comes to is my husband and I have been there 7 years. I lost track. And we dove right in. I saw the house. We weren't even living together yet when I saw this house. And I was like, when you know.
And it wasn't remodeled at all. Like it was
Not at
it was
all.
very, very old fashioned.
It was 1970s, not cool.
Yeah.
So I saw this house. We weren't even dating yet. I wasn't even living back in Nevada. And I was like, this is it. 3 offers later, 4 months later, we get this house. We bought from second generation son, so we bought from someone our age, but he had grown up in the house. So
Love
there's
that.
a lot of sentimental tied into it. The weekend we got our keys, there was like a neighborhood party, which I had like Google searched.
Neighborhood party,
neighborhood
guys.
So what makes Paradise Palms so unique versus the other mid-century neighborhoods or the other vintage neighborhoods is the first Saturday of every month we have a party at someone's house. It's a social on a volunteer basis. We have like little name tags with our name and our street and the Paradise Palms logo. Some parties are like till 4 o'clock in the morning. Some are just like pretty casual,
have
beer and
themes,
chips. And we have themes.
too.
I'm the theme queen on
I
the
love
parties.
themes.
So that's really what like brings this neighborhood so close together. Like, I have 100 phone numbers of neighbors on my phone.
And she told me and my clients the first day, she was like, there's this amazing Facebook page. You have to live here to be on this Facebook page. And she was telling my client, she was like, and here's where you get the parties and here's the garage sales. And if you have a question, we all share the same pest control guy. And if you need, I was like, this is much better than the neighborhood app where everybody just complains about everybody else.
And there's just a lot of built-in resources for homeowners, and yes, you do have to be a homeowner. There are some renters on that Facebook group, but it's just a huge resource of preferred vendors, or tradesmen, we like to call them, kind of a community safety watch, a welcome wagon's kind of tied all into that. It's something that brings everyone together. It's one of the many voices, I think, of Paradise Palms. We have a full built website that talks about all the history of the neighborhood. It's a
very
blog
cool.
of all the photos through our parties, through our neighborhood events. So there's just a lot.
It's
there.
really about
It's
enjoy
very
the
unique.
history of your neighborhood,
Yeah.
which is unique here in Vegas because
Correct.
we've got really cool history. I mean, you live. Am I allowed to say where you live? Like you've got Guard Gate, right?
It's public.
You live in Rhodes Ranch, and that's magical in itself too. And so where I'm weird is that I live in a non-HOA community, and so it's kind of like the wild, wild west. But we love each other because we protect against multi-use apartment buildings and stuff like that because a lot of us do own horses. Not me, I have 2 puppy horses, but
You do.
so anyway, so how do you feel like what you're doing like centers on like how are you getting your clients?
So I love this question because there was not necessarily an intent to it. I just, realized we've lived there for 7 years. We moved in this house. It was 1970s, not cool. Run down. Nothing had been done in this house.
Well, and I love the agents that add a layer of value on top because not only are you an agent, you also
Restored a whole house inside and out. So we get the keys to the house, we jump in, we go to a neighborhood party, and there's a historical home tour the same weekend, all on the same weekend. Once a year in October, the neighborhood celebrates Docomomo, which is a national organization that acknowledges and protects and restores historical architecture. So we do a tour in Paradise Palms. It's mostly neighbors, but we get to appreciate, and it's a big fundraiser for the neighborhood also. So we had all these events the first weekend we get the keys for our house. We're all in.
I would just fall in love.
All in. And from that point forward, like we went to every social every month. We started working on the house, and so we were very visible.
Well,
in
and
the
you two just
neighborhood.
moved out from out of state.
Yeah,
Now, did you live here? Did you have family or friends here? Like this
I
is
had
like
lived
this
here.
is your village, man.
it is. It's crazy how it's all come together. I did live here previously for 6 or 7 years, but I was out in Henderson, like not on the vintage scene whatsoever. But in that time, like I became obsessed with architecture, and I just didn't want a house. I wanted a story.
Yeah.
So Kyle and I move in, we start renovating, and renovations are like not for the faint of heart, inside and out.
It's like pulling a gray hair. I know. I
It
live
is.
in the house I grew up in, third owner,
Yeah.
1984. Talk about that on another podcast.
True. We could probably teach a class on this.
I just cry. You could teach the class on it. I just cry. She's got the design brain. I'm very left brained. I'm like, I take a picture of something on the Housewives and hand it to somebody, be like, I'll be back in 2 weeks. That'll be done.
That's okay, and there's experts out there for that
Yes,
too. And
yeah.
I certainly learned a lot along the way. But you take all of that, you roll it forward, until I got my real estate license 3, maybe 4 years ago.
That's
somewhere in there.
all.
That's
She's
all.
so good. I love it.
And I think all of that, of what we've done, the credibility, the referrals we've been handing out for years, it's nothing we've not done. I think you take all that community involvement and you roll it forward to today. That's what allowed me to step in and really master the neighborhood. Because we've been so involved.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything out of character. It wasn't anything new. I just added another value to my neighborhood, being a realtor.
Yeah.
And being able to teach people the architecture and the floor plans and understanding the layout and how it was developed. And a lot of what I've learned has come from Nevada Preservation Foundation. They do a weekend-long event the last weekend of April, kind of like our very scaled down Modernism Week in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
We go on probably 8 to 10 events a weekend, and that's where I've learned all about the history, architecture, and that's how I've applied it to my business. So I look at that as like a learning tool.
That's amazing. But if people call you and they're like, hey, I want something in Henderson.
Let's go to Henderson.
Let's go to Henderson.
And by the time you get them there, you know everything about that
Everything
too.
there. And that's fun. It's fun to have a niche and really love it and be passionate about it and live the lifestyle. But it's also so fulfilling of like, okay, I'm going to master Sky Canyon this week.
Yeah.
And as the city's grown, we all have a lot to learn.
Yeah. You know what? It's not like California where it's so big.
Correct.
I mean, okay, so we talked about this because we hung out this week dealing with a client issue.
Yes.
And I was born and raised here. You weren't born here.
No, I moved here when I was 11.
But I mean,
Close,
so
yeah.
a very long time. And it's such a small community.
Really, not a long time here. I'm only 21.
You're only 21. Okay,
Like
so
10 years.
there's that. But the cool thing is just, knowing the right people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we kind of elevate us like, I don't feel like we have egos. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I actually really like to be the stupidest person in the room because I'm going to learn from you. I learn from you. I'm like, this girl's got something going on. I want to hang out with you and learn how you've mastered your neighborhood. You've got some great stuff built in, but talking to the agents out there, how you want to master a neighborhood that doesn't have the cool stuff built in. How can we help them accomplish this?
I think it takes digging in, understanding.
Leaning
Leaning
in, wanting to do it and being truthful about it.
Correct.
Not just like, there's going to be a sale as my end game. There's going to be
Right.
the commission breath.
Because people see right through that.
Yeah.
You're not really going to understand or engage in an area if you're not sincerely and authentically interested in it.
Invested in the
Yeah.
area.
You start with how was this developed? If it's a gated community, like who are the builders? Like how did this come together? There's just a lot out there to learn,
And they're all custom homes, or they were certain architects. There were how many different ones? Because we got what do you call it? Their house was like the Polynesian version of.
the Palmer Kreisel 11 elevation. Gosh, I can't even remember.
So cool.
And the great thing is, at UNLV, they've got a special collections library. Like you can go in like with white gloves and like go through like old printed articles and newspapers. And so some neighbors have pulled together our website, literally had gone through those archives and built out the website. So all of our floor plans are laid out, the elevations, the original like sales brochure.
And I love that you guys are on this golf course, because my client got one on the golf course with a gate.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're allowed to like walk your dogs, before and after the golfing hours,
Yep.
So you just at night, and I was like, that's amazing.
Wow.
So it's like a private park.
It's like a giant private park.
And you don't have to pay the water bill.
Love that. I love that. So I think if you, and like I say, my coach, he's always grinding down on me like, do you have a hobby? And I don't have a hobby. I don't go to the gym every day. But I guess my hobby, I love grocery shopping. And so I'm a creature of habit. Like I will go, we pick up the day old bread and treats from Panera every single day for the last 7 years. Because we've got the horse ranch, and so we donate as much as we can all day long to different places, and then the rest of the bread gets to feed the animals and the goats and the pigs and the chickens and that sort of thing. So the people that I know at my Starbucks, my Chevron, my Albertsons, my Walmart, I am invested in these workers and these people and managers, and they like me, they know me, and the questions come, and that's where a lot of my referrals come from. So a niche doesn't have to be a neighborhood.
No, and a niche doesn't have to be a thing you do.
Right.
Your niche can be who you are.
Yes.
And Erin, that's who you are. That's your niche of who you are.
Is what?
Because you are a community connector in your own area. So I don't think the hobby has to be like, I do this. I go to
I know,
gym.
I'm always frustrated.
No.
I was like, I don't have a hobby.
But
my hobby's social media.
But you do.
Yeah.
Your hobby's you. And how you
that's bad.
connect everybody
My
together.
hobby is me.
No,
Dang!
but what I know about you and what I know about what you give back and how you give it back is when it's something you're all in. I will give you a prime example. Rocco decided to pick up a football.
His freshman year, this
freshman
year.
year.
And
Last year.
I don't like, okay, let's talk about how I've embraced football with my Diamante football purse
All in.
here. I am all in. I have all the accessories, and yeah, I did. And I
You
don't.
joined the booster club, and you were, selling things. You were all in. So
So
when
passion.
not saying
So
that.
so a niche
Yes.
should be more of a passion.
Yeah.
It could be more of a passion. But we teach a lot of classes, and a lot of agents are like, they're always struggling for referrals. Where do you find referrals? Where do you find referrals? Do you buy them? How do you get them? Of course I say social media, but it's just about being and I'm like eyes up. I tell my kids this: eyes up, get off your dang phone.
Yeah.
Actually talk to people, give them the compliments, and everything like that. But it is being a good person and joining community efforts. Like if you're not religious, but a church can be a big thing too, and then when you have kids, there's a village, there's conversations, but it's also giving into your passions too. So if you're with the church, or if you're doing the community service, or, helping people. I know that's like a blanket thing. Why'd you get into real estate? I like to help people. And your bank account. Let's be clear, but everybody has to work to put food on the table.
For sure.
There's a big difference between a job and a career. And if somebody gets into real estate to make just quick money or make a lot of money with no connection, then that is just a job.
I see that way too much because,
Yeah.
television, social media, everything is really, really glamorized.
Oh, gosh.
Real estate. And I walked into it at 40 too because I needed a personal change. I did weddings for 25 years. I got burned out.
Yeah.
You can get burned out, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just lost my train of thought, girls.
But I think that was you finding you because
Yeah.
you were in the wedding business because your family was in the wedding business.
Ooh, and I loved
And that
people.
happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
true.
And so you made the change for yourself.
And you know what? That you got into real estate 6 years ago?
No, 3.
Okay.
4?
I was
don't-
buffering it
somewhere.
for you. All right.
Well, thank you.
But see, and that's another thing. My girlfriend does the second half chronicles, and she talks about the second half of life. I'm not saying we're in our second half of life, ladies. I am not. But what I'm saying is, even at 28, if you don't like where you're going in your direction, change it.
Yes.
I'd say the better side of 40.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can all
And
agree to
I
that.
chose this career. I had a great 20-year career prior, but life just kind of got me there.
What'd you do before this?
I was in hospitality. I was director of sales.
Of
I've
course
been
you
in
were.
Convention sales for a long time. So this was a very natural progression.
Yeah.
But I made a very big sacrifice and had a supportive husband, thankfully, of making that change.
Don't we all?
Don't we all?
Don't we all? Happy Valentine's
Yes.
to all of our
To
lovely
all
husbands
the
out there,
supporting loves
partners,
out
all
there.
the things. Yeah.
So, I had a lot to lose also. I gave up a career, a very big career. So I didn't want to go back. And I knew what I'd learned, but I also knew, boots on the ground, let's go. And thankfully, I had a big, successful career, and I had all those fundamentals of business, and I knew
Work
email,
ethic,
traveling, meeting people, connecting, negotiating contracts, all the things. And I just took all of that and pulled it right in. Business planning, all the things, not even the fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and let's be clear. I mean, when you choose to be in a profession like ours, everybody's like, "Oh, you get to work from home. You get to make your own schedule." Let's be really, really clear.
been in my home
From 3 pretty successful people here, doing this is not having your own time
No.
or creating your own schedule
It's
or
not.
working less than 40
you don't
hours.
have an IT person, you don't have a marketing person, you don't have an HR person. None of this stuff's done.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
And
Yeah,
you don't get to
especially-
leave at 5.
No, definitely
there's
not.
Computers don't get shut down at 4:45.
Yeah.
But, and this is where I was going with that, there's big differences between jobs and careers. And when you make a decision to what you're going to do with your own life, then you get to make the decision how much you want to put into it.
Yeah.
You could put as little as you'd like to put into it. But it doesn't feel like work. And I know that's a very cliche statement, but it doesn't
When
feel
you do
like
what
work.
you love, you never work a day in your life.
It's very cliche, but
You're still working.
There are long days. Okay, there are very long days, and hours run into hours. But at the end of all of it, the fulfillment that you've done it for you and your career is very different than putting in a 16-hour day for a corporation. That's just me. I'll only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's very different.
100%. I mean, there's a let's be clear. A lot of people call me like career Barbie because within I got married really, really young. And so it's like I've had the time to have different careers. And so before I did get into the wedding industry, you know, there was a couple really big major ones. Like I worked at MGM, like in the casino marketing department. And then I was a maitre d' with Spago. Like I've had some really cool things. And in the wedding industry, I was an event DJ plus a wedding planner and the marketer. So, you know, there's a lot of things, but that was a big chunk.
Yeah.
That was a really big chunk.
Yeah.
But when I did work for the corporations, Spago, MGM Resorts, I mean, there's not a lot of loyalty. Everybody's replaceable. And I was, you know, between 21 and 26. And I knew that I could be replaced as good as I was, you know? And so I just like checked myself out, you know, that early. You know what I'm saying? But working for yourselves too, you do have to have an exit strategy. You do have to work on, you don't have a corporation giving you your health insurance or giving you your 401k or giving you.
Right.
So, you know, we're just built differently.
And I think growing and learning and being around other people and not feeling, like you said, you're not intimidated having another realtor here.
Heck no.
I'm never intimidated by being in rooms with other lenders. I love that. I love to ask questions. I actually host masterminds and invite people in my own industry to come to those masterminds with me.
Yeah.
Because it's a collaborative effort. I mean, I share information because it's not mine to have. It's not a secret sauce. I'm not holding it over here.
Yeah,
I'm the only one who
nothing,
can do this.
nothing should be
'Cause
secret
that's just
except for
not
like
true.
Kylie's lipstick or whatever.
Right.
I mean, there's some magic there. But it's like, you know, I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. Holly, oh my gosh, okay, somebody wants to be looking up in the arts district. Tell me your feelings and thoughts. And, you know, you comp that all the time. And if you're like, somebody's got a septic tank. Can you tell me about that? Yes.
Well, I might be working on one, so I know who I'm calling.
Queen of septic tanks. Yes. And R&P rules, rural national preservation and all that. So.
And I think it's so, we can't be an expert of everything. It's impossible.
No, I don't think that's good.
No.
I don't think that's good. Really lay your foundations and then just start adding to it.
Yep.
You know, and so I'm not going to say, you know, I am the #1 expert on Toll Brothers and Sky Canyon. I wouldn't do that. I know who to call.
That thing makes me laugh across every industry, across the whole world when somebody says, #1.
Nobody's
Says
#1.
who?
Yeah.
Who told you that, and who printed you a certificate?
Well, yeah, you know, I don't like that.
4800, they printed you a certificate, and now you are You need to stop that.
Yeah. Okay. You could be the #1 to yourself.
Right.
You know, I always talk about, you know, keep the horse blinders on because boy, I can fall down a rabbit hole real quick. When I am teaching the social media classes, I say, you know, I construct, I don't consume. I consume on a very limited basis because, you know, I can be like, Holly sold 9 this month. What am I doing wrong? You know what I'm saying? And so it's a very slippery slope. I think in general with social media, whether you're a young woman comparing yourself to people or you're starting out as a print shop and comparing, because you want to be in other people in your industry's lives to get nuggets and get ideas, but keep it at that. Keep your eyes up, you know? And so consuming is very, very difficult. So.
Great point.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to that transaction. Your buyers coming into the neighborhood.
Yes.
And I always go back to that experience because it was not a transaction. It was an experience.
It was.
Buyers meeting sellers and kids and the dogs and a family picture literally on the doorsteps that you took.
We'll post that. I just got chills.
I know. Because it really was like the perfect experience.
So much chills.
And I always benchmark every transaction on that one.
Yay.
Because
winning.
You don't always find the agent that wants to even meet you, or I'm like,
yeah, they want to stay behind the screens.
So much they want to protect their client, or I'm like, don't you want your client to
Well,
have
and they got to talk about,
Yeah.
hey, who did you use? Where did you find that piece of furniture?
Right.
You don't want to sell to me, but I love it. And did you know, Holly, that Leslie, my clients, I actually put them through to Leslie and said, can they get a better deal on their loan? And she declined it and said they're in a really good position because if you want to, you know.
So they have a wealth management company, and I said, listen, I'm happy to do your mortgage, but I really think it will benefit you more if you speak to your wealth manager because of what your assets look like. They're going to give you a way better mortgage, a way better interest rate. You're not going to have to liquidate things. You're not going to have to move things around. They're going to be able to do this solely on who you are, what your credit looks like, and what you have in the asset account. And that is the one thing about me, and definitely dealing with all of the different arenas and different people in this arena. If I always review anything that Erin has come across her table. If she's feeling a certain way, I'll say, hey, just let me look at it. I will not take food out of someone else's mouth. If I think it's a good transaction, I will always say, listen, I can beat this by an eighth, but why? Like, why would we go?
You already have the ball rolling over here. So she was sort of part of the transaction.
And he was so kind. And then I had the pleasure of going to dinner with, I'm not going to say
the client.
The client.
Yes.
And we just had it was a different connection because I connected with her differently as a female. So it was just, and they're very happy with where they're at. And they were very grateful that I said to them, hey, this is a better way for you to go. You know,
I don't think a lot of people are met with honesty all the time, especially in a sales, position. You know, everybody's just trying to, get their own. And so anyway, benchmark. It was so good.
Because it just created such an experience for them. And there wasn't anything hidden behind the door, and everyone was in it to win it for each other.
Speaking of hidden behind the door, what? There's a secret door.
Oh, the secret door.
That it looks like a bookcase, and you're like, and wait, and Holly, and I love when a good listing agent really knows about the house, and I really don't, that they're there to give the tour, because she's like, but wait, and she opened up this door, and it was, what would you call it? It could be used for an office. He uses it for a workout room. Also an exit door.
Storage, whatever. It was just a bigger room, and they were like, we need to do something with this space. And they're like, but Vegas is all about that, like mystique, the series.
It was so cool.
The safe on the floor, whatever it is.
I bet the kids freaked out.
So the next time a listing agent, if you're a really good listing agent, I don't care if it's $300,000, I don't care if it's $3 million. Go show your own homes. When you have people wanting to come and see it, you know all about that house. If you're a really good listing agent, you've had it pre-inspected like I do.
Yep,
and so I pointed out, hey, there's a crack in this window. We know about it. I'm letting you know it doesn't affect this. And so don't hesitate to bring in that listing agent or buyer's agent and all the people. So that's my word of advice.
I
but
agree.
Through the transaction, they're really not, the buyers and sellers aren't supposed to talk directly to each other. We're the mouthpieces.
Right.
So let's keep it legal, but amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. I kind of know your Valentine's plans. You're going to the Durango Fancy Steakhouse. I'm excited to hear about that. Do you do Valentine's?
We do. We have nothing on the
I mean,
docket.
you guys are married without kids. It's kind of cool.
Great.
I'm an advocate for that. I'm an advocate for
You're
that.
going to get the best service on Valentine's Day because everybody's still going to be hungover from the Super Bowl.
I think, we're really close. Right. We're really close to the Super Bowl. And then, you know what? Really quick, I know you went to Monday night at the Allegiant Stadium. So it was what was it called?
It was called Opening Night, sponsored by Gatorade.
Okay, and so it was like the media center where all the players were down below.
Yep.
They were talking, and you got to see Allegiant. I know you get there, but
they brought in the cheerleaders. They brought in bands. They had
Cirque du Soleil. There was like a lot of Vegas stuff.
Tom Brackett, you did an awesome job. Yeah, my friend is the guy in Blue Man Group.
And I know we're listening to this on Friday, and so Friday night and Saturday of this particular week, you can do the Super Bowl experience sponsored by Toyota. Why do we say this? But this one,
because there's so many.
That's
in
how
town
you
right
can.
Now.
So much.
There's just so much in town right now that they're being sponsored by different people. It just kind of helps people place where you work.
So mine was super family friendly, super affordable. It was $25 a person. You could buy tickets at the door, and it was miles of activities.
Yeah.
And I don't even like football, and it was a good time. And you could buy tickets at the door,
Awesome.
but research where you park, people.
See, I lucked out.
We did spend an hour in the car trying to figure out the parking, but that was me going like, I'm the only person going. I can just park in Mandalay Bay. Yeah, all right. That was me having a me moment.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Tens of thousands of people, but it was such a good time.
It was so good.
Yeah. Well, I still do have children at home, and so I think we're going to like Buffalo Wild Wings for, I'm going to put those chicken fingers in like a heart shape. Be like, here you go, Rocco. It's Rocco's favorite, restaurant. All right, thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful Super Bowl and Valentine's Day. We will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.